morning Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Trinidad and Tobago under fire for deporting Venezuelans seeking asylum. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, April 23rd. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Trinidad and Tobago is being accused of violating international law in deporting 82 Venezuelan nationals who were seeking asylum in the Twin Island Republic. 53 Venezuelan men and 29 women were sent back to their homeland over the weekend, but the government insists they were voluntarily repatriated. In fact, Attorney General Faris Alwari said they begged to go home. It's a claim disputed by attorneys representing some of the Venezuelans who say that by repatriating them, Trinidad and Tobago violated international and local law. Nisha John Mohammed of TV6 News spoke to some of those attorneys on Sunday, including Salini Sankar, who works with the Living Water Community, a religious-based organization that works with the United Nations Refugee Agency, the UNHCR.
I can confirm that some of the persons I am representing have been repatriated back to Venezuela yesterday, and these persons are asylum seekers. I can also confirm that family members of these individuals have indicated that they were left at the Caracas airport with no money and no means of transportation back to their homes.
With their lives threatened by the Maduro-led government, Ms. Sanka said her clients had no choice but to flee the country.
But most of them are seeking asylum on the basis that their life is threatened and they have a serious fear of persecution of being threatened when in Venezuela.
Human rights lawyer Rajiv Prasad, who has also been getting calls from families of those repatriated yesterday, said he is in the process of investigating the matter. And if there's any truth to it, the country may have violated international law. Although there is no refugee legislation in the country, both Prasad and Sanka said there is an understanding between the Ministry of National Security, the Attorney General, the Living Water Community, and the United Nations concerning asylum seekers.
As an attorney, I'm aware that there are standard governing practices which govern the rights of asylum seekers and the relationship between the government and asylum seekers until legislation has been put in place.
So much so that the United Nations has expressed concern over the deportation of asylum seekers. In a release, its resident coordinator, Richard Blewett, said they are worried about the welfare of those persons and are in contact with the appropriate authorities in Port-of-Spain to ensure that refugees in need of protection will get it without fail. However, speaking to TV6, Attorney General Faris Alwari said he spoke with Mr. Blewett about the matter yesterday.
I did specifically yesterday receive a phone call from Mr. Richard Blewett, who was in Panama at the time, and called me to ask if there was going to be a repatriation yesterday, I indicated to him that there was going to be, and that the information that I had is that the persons who were leaving were all voluntary consenting persons.
Alwari also said he spoke with the Venezuelans at the detention center before they were returned home.
When I went to the IDC center with Minister of National Security, and I spoke personally with the people there, and my Spanish is fairly good, so I had a first-hand conversation with them. They literally begged to be returned home.
But with no proper legislation, refugees have little protection in the country. On the UN Refugee Agency website, it states that Trinidad and Tobago on November 2nd, 2000, became the 140th country to sign the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees and its 1967 protocol, the foundations of international refugee law. Accession to the convention assisted the government in determining refugee status and protected refugees according to international standards. Also from the UK government resource website, Trinidad and Tobago was listed as one of the states party to the 1951 Convention and the 1967 Protocol.
Earlier this month, a select joint committee of Parliament was told that an estimated 2,000 Venezuelans have applied for asylum in Trinidad and Tobago in recent months. It was also informed that in 2015, there were 29 male Venezuelan detainees, but a year later, the figure had risen to 125, including 97 females. Last year, there were 45 men and 82 women. Between 150 and 200 Venezuelans arrive in Trinidad and Tobago by sea every week, some of them illegally. Still, meantime, an investigation has been mounted into what could be an asylum scam in the Twin Island Republic. The Immigration Division says it has received reports that foreign nationals have been entering the country and are being required to pay a fee to facilitate a claim for asylum, even though they are not entering the country as refugees. The statement from the Ministry of National Security said the foreigners are being told that they cannot be touched by immigration once they receive an asylum seeker's certificate, and that they can live and work freely in Trinidad and Tobago, even though they do not have the requisite legal documents. It said government is also concerned that many foreigners have entered the country illegally or have overstayed the landing permission granted to them by the Immigration Division, and as a result may become susceptible to exploitation because of their irregular immigration status. The statement added that government will not tolerate these breaches of national security, and every effort will be taken to prevent exploitation of foreign nationals while protecting the borders of Trinidad and Tobago. The British government on Monday said Commonwealth nationals, including those from the Caribbean who came to Britain between 1948 and 1973, would have their status formalized following the controversy that erupted over the so-called Windrush generation. Home Secretary Amber Rudd, in a statement to Parliament, said that all Home Office records dating back to 2002 would also be checked to see if anyone had been wrongly deported. She said the state had let those people down. Travel documents denied, exclusions of returning to the UK, benefits cut, and threats to deport. And she promised that she would make things right, and where people have suffered loss, they will be compensated. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, has pledged to find a solution to the high taxes associated with intra-regional air travel. Director General Dr. Didicus Jules says it has presented a proposal on the issue to sub-regional governments for consideration. He says the OECS is hoping, even on an experimental basis, to be able to help make a difference. Jules was speaking at the launch of the integrated travel project Carib Sky, which is expected to reduce the cost of travel within the English, Dutch, and French-speaking Caribbean. LIAT Chief Executive Officer Julie Reefer-Jones said that the issue of taxes associated with regional air travel is really a very ticklish one, but it is one that the company has to try and find a solution for.
Recently, we conducted a review of air transportation, including taking a strong look at LIAT. And one of the things that came out of that review is the fact that there has been this significant decline in intra-regional travel. And when we tried to get behind the numbers and look at some of the factors impacting that decline, the taxes, and this includes both airport and the taxes directly from the government, is acting as a significant deterrent to travel across the region. And for LIAT as an airline, because we are connecting passengers across several territories, we are actually picking up taxes from 3 or 4 territories every time somebody flies from one destination to the next. And we also have the issue of in-transit taxes, because we are stopping at St. Martin, or we're stopping in St. Vincent, or we're stopping in Barbados.
Reefer-Jones says the cash-strapped LIAT is trying to broaden the conversation and is saying to all the governments that the region has an interest in intra-regional travel. The airline executive says another finding of the LIAT study is that between 2009 and 2016, the airline's base fare has increased an estimated 3%, while taxes have climbed by about 56%.
What the passenger sees is not LIAT's base fare. They're going to see the total package. and their reaction to buying a ticket to travel to Guadeloupe or to travel to Dominica is going to be impacted by that total bottom line picture. And I think that in this conversation, we all have to try to influence our governments to make a commitment to the region, because that's what this conversation is about, and to put some measures in place that will help to stimulate that interregional travel, because when it happens, there will be economic growth and we will all benefit.
Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister says the country may be forced to change anti-gay laws. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
The Career Development Institute's Caribbean Rising Stars in Beauty competition determines the best and most talented in hair, makeup, nails, or barbering. Win a scholarship and prizes worth more than $5,000. Build your clientele and expand your business. Upload 4 photographs of your best work to our email address. Watch the public vote on our Facebook page. Join the winners at the prestigious Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a live finals competition. Email careerdevelopment.institute@yahoo.com. The Career Development Institute, bringing the best in regional beauty together.
There's an island just beyond the horizon, waiting for you to explore its deep treasures. Experience this and more at the Barbados Reggae Festival. 4 of the biggest reggae events, April 22nd to 29th, featuring the superstars of reggae, Maxi Priest, JC Lodge, Everton Blender, Johnny Osborne,
No ice cream sound,
Queen Ifrica, Jock Cure,
anytime you need a lover, call on me.
Anthony B, Taurus Riley,
But anytime you decide if you pack up your things and leave, don't come back.
Idonia,
Yeah.
and many more. Purchase your event tickets from ticketlinks.com. For more details, follow Barbados Reggae Festival on Facebook or Instagram. Barbados, always on.
Festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again. The Caribbean's greatest summer line, yeah, it's country around my time. 44 is the hair, I know you love it here. Troops and festivities, we love the Caribbean. But all night, no time for sleep, emancipate with we. Back food and folklore, culture on the 44. Back food and folklore, welcome to our island shore. Back food and folklore, entertainment to die for. Back food and folklore, culture on the 44.
Be watching on May 12th as the Anthony N. Sapka Caribbean Awards for Excellence is broadcast live from the Pegasus Hotel in Jamaica. Join us from 6:30 p.m. as Kai Miller of Jamaica, Noel and Siobhan Joseph of Trinidad and Tobago, Andrew Boyle of Guyana, and Adesh Ramsubak of Trinidad and Tobago receive $500,000 TT, a medal and citation for their work in the arts, sciences, public and civic contributions, and entrepreneurship.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says the Twin Island nation may eventually have to give in to global pressure and repeal laws banning homosexual activity. Brown says even though the issue was not on the agenda at the recently concluded Commonwealth meeting, the matter was discussed, and he says the changes will be voluntary or forced.
Some countries that are very bullish about the issue, which means that within the region we will see increased pressure to address certain laws that may be discriminatory. And again, even though they may go against our religious sensibilities, those are issues that the international community is pushing right now. And we have to be at least aware that these discussions are taking place so that we can start to condition our minds that eventually there will be changes, if not voluntarily, they'll be forced.
Brown says a number of Caribbean countries have already bent, and it's only a matter of time before the pressure reaches Antigua and Barbuda.
In Belize, now in Trinidad and Tobago, they have appealed, but you can be sure that they will lose. So it is inevitable. And I just, again, I'm not advocating for any such change, but we have to understand that there are global pressures.
China is pledging support for Cuba's new president. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying says the Asian nation is ready and willing to work with Miguel Diaz-Canel to expand and deepen bilateral cooperation and, as I quote, score glorious achievements in China-Cuba friendship in a new era. End of quote. She said the two countries enjoy profound friendship and a solid basis for cooperation, and China sincerely hopes that a responsible socialist Cuba can continue to make its voice heard on the world stage. China-Cuba relations have been intensifying since President Xi Jinping assumed office in 2013. He has signed a dozen bilateral agreements on a multitude of areas, including finance, agriculture, industry, telecommunications, oil and energy with the Caribbean nation. And ahead in Newsline Sport, CONCACAF cancels the remainder of the Women's Under-17 Championship. We'll tell you why after the break.
The Career Development Institute's Caribbean Rising Stars in Beauty competition determines the best and most talented in hair, makeup, nails, or barbering. Win a scholarship and prizes worth more than $5,000. Build your clientele and expand your business. Upload 4 photographs of your best work to our email address. Watch the public vote on our Facebook page. Join the winners at the prestigious Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a live finals competition. Email careerdevelopment.institute@yahoo.com. The Career Development Institute, bringing the best in regional beauty together.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27th to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Singer Lungi, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Willy Wonder. Spice, August Alsina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Riot, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
FAS Promotions in association with Q100.7 FM present the Mount Gay Extra Old Vintage Reggae Show and Dance. Doors open 7 p.m. Showtime 9 p.m. Featuring the legends of reggae, Ernie Smith.
And if I could have just one dream.
Freddie McGregor. JC Lodge. Leroy Gibbons. Tony Tuff. Johnny Osborne. Josie Wales. Troubadours International, Little Rick and DJ Frog. DJs King Scorpion, Black Cat, Daddy Fabian, and Alvin Thomas. MC Admiral. Get your tickets from the official box offices or ticketlinks.com. The Mount Gay Extra Old Vintage Reggae Show and Dance. Friday, April 27th, Kensington Oval. It's going to be a night to remember.
Be watching on May 12th as the Anthony N. Sapka Caribbean Awards for Excellence is broadcast live from the Pegasus Hotel in Jamaica. Join us from 6:30 p.m. as Kai Miller of Jamaica, Noel and Siobhan Joseph of Trinidad and Tobago, Andrew Boyle of Guyana, and Adesh Ramsubak of Trinidad and Tobago receive $500,000 TT, a medal and citation for their work in the arts, sciences, public and civic contributions, and entrepreneurship.
The Confederation of North, Central America and Caribbean Association Football, CONCACAF, has cancelled the remainder of the Women's Under-17 Championship because of violence in the Nicaraguan capital. In a statement issued from Miami on Sunday, CONCACAF said that to guarantee the safety of the delegations and all participants and fans, the cancellation would apply to all matches and events. The Bermuda team, which took part in the tournament, was said to be safe and in no danger. They were due to take on the USA on Sunday before closing out the group stage against Costa Rica on Tuesday. Group A was made up of host Nicaragua, Mexico, Puerto Rico and Haiti. The top 2 teams from the 2 groups will advance to the semi-finals, after which the CONCACAF champions and 2nd and 3rd place teams will qualify for the Under-17 World Cup, which is scheduled for Uruguay in November and December. More than 10 people have died and 100 injured in several days of protests against changes to the Nicaraguan pension scheme. The move, approved by the Nicaraguan government last Wednesday, increased pension contributions for workers and employers while reducing benefits. Over to athletics. Reigning world 100-meter champion American Justin Gatlin opened his season with a victory at the Grenada Invitational on Saturday, making up for his absence because of injury last year. The 36-year-old was timed at 10.05 seconds in the marquee event at the Kirani James Stadium, with fellow Americans Isaiah Young finishing second in 10.11 seconds and Mike Rogers stopping the clock in 11.16 seconds to take third spot. Gatlin's female counterpart, Tori Bowie, the reigning women's world champion, was also in winning form as she raced to victory in the women's event, crossing the line in 22.75 seconds. The United States also took honors in the men's 200 meters when former world and Olympic 400-meter champion LaShawn Merritt claimed victory in a time of 20.57 seconds. Hometown favorite Bralon Taplin, who finished fifth at the Commonwealth Games in Australia earlier this month, snatched the men's 400 meters in a time of 45.29 seconds, with Luginlin Saturn of the Dominican Republic taking the second spot in 45.66 seconds. Over to cricket. Elegant stroke maker Shea Hope says West Indies have already trained their sights on the Sri Lanka Test series as they target success in the 3-test rubber in June. The 24-year-old is among several Windies cricketers who have been preparing for the upcoming series, which will see matches at the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad, the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia, and Kensington Oval in Barbados, which will be an historic first day-night test in the Caribbean. Hope said, and I quote, "Everyone has their eyes on the Sri Lanka series. It is something big for us as individuals and as a team. We haven't played test cricket for quite a while. Our last test was in New Zealand in December, so we want to get back out there and get back in the groove." End of quote. The Windies are yet to name a squad for the series, but once selected, the players are expected to assemble for a training camp to intensify preparation for the tour. Hope is famous for his superb match-winning batting display against England in the second test at Headingley last year. He made 147 and 118 not out as the West Indies won by 5 wickets to stun the cricket world, especially after losing the first test at Edgbaston by an innings and 209 runs inside of 3 days. West Indies last hosted Sri Lanka back in 2008 when the series ended 1-1. Sri Lanka won the first test in Guyana and Windies captured the second in Trinidad. Staying with cricket, world number 1 T20 bowler Rashid Khan is among 3 players confirming their participation for the ICC World 11 in the hurricane relief match against West Indies at Lord's next month. The 19-year-old Afghanistan star, who helped propel his side to capture the ICC World Cup qualifying title in Zimbabwe last month, has been joined by the Bangladesh duo of Shakib Al Hassan and Tamim Iqbal. Rashid Khan said it was an opportunity for the cricketing world to give back to the culture that had provided the sport with so much. He has taken 139 wickets from 96 T20s and 100 scalps from 44 one-day internationals and lies second in the ODI rankings. Tamim, meanwhile, has been successful across all formats and will be one of the attractions at the upcoming contest. The left-hander has scored 4,585 in 167 T20s and belted 200s and also averaged 38 from 54 tests and 34 from 179 ODIs. Now on to horse racing. 7-time Northland Park champion Rico Walcott warmed up for his title defense when he paired with the favorite Aliford Bay to win the $50,000 Canadian dollar Brighouse Bell stake at Hastings Racecourse in Vancouver on Sunday. In a 6.5 furlong trip, the ace Barbadian jockey produced a stalking ride aboard the 4-year-old Bay filly to collar the 3-year-old and upward fillies and mares and reach the wire 3.5 lengths clear in a time of 1 minute 17.04 seconds. The victory marked the third added money triumph for Aliford Bay following successes in the United States last year, winning the $50,000 Seattle Stakes at Emerald Downs last May and the $60 100 Californian Governor's Cup handicap in Sacramento 2 months later. The Barbadian Patrick Husbands missed out on a brace on the opening day of the new Woodbine season when one of his wins was overturned through disqualification. The veteran rider reached the wire first in the 120,000 Canadian dollar Wando Stakes in race 6 aboard 2-1 chance match 3, with Ing finishing second and Taylor Viana taking third. However, with match 3 lugging in during the stretch run on the mile and 16th event, jockey Omar Moreno aboard Taylor Viana lodged an appeal for interference, which was upheld. Rafael Hernandez, the rider of favourite Piper's Warrior, also claimed foul against Taylor Viana, which was also upheld. Woodbine's Robert Geller has the call.
By only a length. Flight Deck closing ground, 2 lengths to Taylor Vienna, stirring home on the outside. Behind them, Piper's Warriors 3 back, then Muck Tree, and on the inside is Tito Chip. Down the lane in the Wando Stakes, Inga still 2 in front. Taylor Vienna second, Flight Deck not fighting enough, and down the outside, Muck Tree is starting to wind up for Patrick Husbands late on the scene. Inga shortening strides. Right down the centre, Muck Tree is flying home. Taylor Vienna the centre, Muck Tree gobbles them up. Running on his Tito Chip behind them, but Muck Tree comes away. Very impressive. Muck Tree 2 lengths. Inga second, Taylor Vienna third. Behind them, Tito Chip and Piper's Warrior in the 4th place.
The decision saw Ing upgraded to first, with Tito Chip second and Piper Warrior third. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Sifa Logi, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Vibes, August Alsina, Aishona, Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Pliers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
FAS Promotions, in association with Q100.7 FM, present the Mount Gay Extra Old Vintage Reggae Show and Dance. Doors open 7 p.m., showtime 9 p.m. Featuring the legends of reggae, Ernie Smith.
And if I could have just one dream.
Freddie McGregor. J.C. Lodge. Leroy Gibbons. Tony Tuff. Johnny Osborne. Josie Wales. Troubadours International, Little Rick and DJ Frog, DJs King Scorpion, Black Cat, Daddy Fabian, and Alvin Thomas, MC Admiral. Get your tickets from the official box offices or ticketlinks.com. The Mount Gay Extra Old Vintage Reggae Show and Dance, Friday, April 27th, Kensington Oval. It's going to be a night to remember.
Festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again, festival again. The Caribbean's greatest summer line, yeah, it's country around the time. 44 is the hair, I know you love it here. Troops and festivities, we love the Caribbean. But all night, no time to sleep, emancipate with we.
Again, the major developments of this day. Trinidad and Tobago under fire for deporting Venezuelans seeking asylum, but the government says they were repatriated voluntarily. And in sport, CONCACAF cancels the remainder of the Women's Under-17 Championship because of violence in the Nicaraguan capital. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to condanews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.